Welcome back to the Dyslexic Maverick podcast. I am so freaking excited to have Laurie Hammer with me today. We are going to talk about all things ADHD, but also just brain science and how to get the best out of our brains. And something I think most of you can relate to, how to maybe calm our brains a little bit as well. Laurie holds a degree in psychology, but she's also a certified nutritional therapist as well. She's very heavy in the functional medicine side of things, which I absolutely love and have gotten more interested in the past couple years. She's also a mom, a business owner, but she's struggled with an eating disorder, anxiety, and depression over the years, and we'll hear a little bit more about that. Um, the one thing that really just caught my attention with Lori was her amino acid therapy and how that kind of helps our different brains. So we are going to really dive into that today. She also founded the Calm Mom method, which I know I could personally use on a daily basis, and also has a Calm Mom Academy. So welcome, Lori, to the Dyslexic Maverick podcast.
Nancy, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I love your mission. I mean, all of your listeners need to leave you 5-star reviews all the time. So if you're not doing that, all of you listening, take a moment and give Nancy 5-star reviews, whatever platform you're listening on, because her mission is freaking amazing. And so I'm really honored to be here. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And you know what I meant to say in the intro, but I'm gonna just add it in right here. You also have a podcast, Take Back My Brain, which I think is super relevant for all of the listeners on the Dyslexic Maverick podcast.
Yes, for sure. Yes. Yeah, definitely give me some 5-star reviews too. Take back my brain. I would love that. So follow me.
Those good dopamine hits for all of our brains, right?
Yeah,
Like, it feels good to leave
exactly.
them, and it feels good
Yes,
to receive them too. Oh, that's
exactly.
awesome. Well, Lori, I'd love to just jump right into it and kind of hear about how you got here. I think most of us, kind of in this space, we have kind of unique stories, or we feel like they're unique, maybe, and then we realize that we're not quite as out there on an island as maybe we once thought we were. So, can you kind of tell us a little bit about how you got here?
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I'll try not to make it too long. So, when I was a teenager, I developed an eating disorder. And so fast forward 11, 12 years into that, I was in college and the anxiety, the depression, the eating disorder were just really kind of out of control. So I was binging and purging every single day, multiple times a day. And I was having a hard time going to school. I had to quit nursing school because I just wasn't making my clinicals and my life was just a mess. So I had a nursing professor and she tried to help me to get me into some eating disorder clinics and I didn't qualify. So I wasn't suicidal enough. My weight wasn't low enough, but here I was passing out, taking too many laxatives. I was having seizures because things were imbalanced. I mean, you name it, it was happening. And I tried lots of methods. I did counseling, I tried drinking, I tried smoking pot, I tried, all sorts of methods to not binge and purge every single day. I mean, they weren't all very helpful, but nonetheless, I was trying. So I thought if I just moved away, that would solve everything. So I moved away to Omaha, Nebraska, and things just actually got worse. I met a boy, and you know how that goes. So anyway, the same friend of mine you just know how that goes. The same friend of mine, she ended up sending me an article and she's like, you need to call this place. So it was an outpatient clinic in Mill Valley, California. And their mantra was in this article she sent me that you are addicted to what you're allergic to, meaning you have a lot of food sensitivities that triggers dopamine and endorphin hits in your brain. And that is why you're in this craving cycle. And so if you fix those deficiencies and you take out the foods you're sensitive to, you can stop this cycle. And I'm like, that sounds really interesting. So I called out there and they're like, yes, we can definitely help you get your hiney out here. So made an appointment, was out there for a week. And indeed, I did find out I had celiac disease. I was sensitive to gluten and dairy and all things associated. So everything I was binging and purging on, was causing me a lot of problems. And, so cutting out all the processed sugars and cutting out the gluten and the dairy. And I found out I had yeast overgrowth and adrenal issues. So you name it, they discovered it. And then the best part was, they were like, well, now we need to rebuild your brain. We need to nourish your brain. And so we do that with amino acids. And so they used amino acid therapy, which means you target specific neurotransmitters in your brain that affect your mood. and you use specific amino acids for those neurotransmitters. And so you rebuild them. And so when they started doing that with me, we did a trialing session, and I still do this today with my clients. Um, all of a sudden, it's like my brain turned on. And then after I took them for a while, the cravings stopped. And then I could stop the cycle, and the dietary changes were easier to make. Then the gut would heal, and then you'd sleep better. And then you like this whole cascade. And before you know it, my eating disorder is gone. Right. And I didn't, because you can't talk it away. I mean, some people say you can, but I see women all the time in their 40s where they had an eating disorder. It just looks different when you're 40 than when you're 14. So, anyway, long story short, that's how I overcame my eating disorder. And that was my first dive into this functional nutritional world. And I haven't looked back since.
That is absolutely amazing, and something that I honestly, until I met you, I've talked to a lot of functional nutritionists and therapists, and they may have said amino acids. I've heard of some people on YouTube that are really big in the amino acid space, and so I've heard of it, but I've never heard of it actually calming down your brain, and certainly not the, like, your body is almost rejecting what it's allergic to. That it makes
Right.
so much sense, though, when you say it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people use amino acids because, amino acids are the building block of life. So you have to have amino acids for your hair growth, your organs, your enzymes, your hormones. Like everything is dependent on amino acids. But amino acid therapy is targeting, when we're talking about the brain, is targeting specific neurotransmitters at therapeutic doses. So it's different than just taking an amino acid supplement. We're using it as therapy instead of just basic support.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think some of my, like, protein bars are, like, they say, like, amino acids on,
Yeah.
and it makes me
Yeah.
feel better for
I
eating
know.
them.
You're
I
like,
don't know if that helps.
I'm gonna.
I don't necessarily
It's
notice a
true.
difference with my brain, but
Yeah, yeah. We need to be a little more targeted, Nancy.
yeah. So so talk to me. You do a lot of work with ADHD clients, right?
Yes,
In
ADHD,
your therapy?
anxiety, depression, yeah.
Yeah. So what does it look like when a new client comes to you and they're just, I'm picturing them at least just like searching for answers, much like you were probably, in
Mhm.
your late teens, early 20s, and just like somebody help me. What are some of the challenges that they're facing when they find you?
Well, 'cause they've tried a lot of things. They've probably been to multiple practitioners, and they've tested them for parasites and, candida. They've probably done a lot of counseling and, a lot of different, what I want to say, different therapies to help you focus better and, strategies and those kind of things. And so, people have already come to me working on those things and they're like, I'm still struggling, and so I'll do an assessment on them. I use different forms to kind of measure where they are and still scoring really high. Most people are on medications, like Vyvanse or Adderall or an SSRI like Prozac or something of that nature, and they're still scoring super high in those categories. And so then, well, we take those forms and we decide what you're deficient in, and then I send you an amino acid kit in the mail, and we get on a Zoom call like we are right now, and we open up the capsules of these specific amino acids related to where your deficiencies are. We put them under your tongue, the powder under the tongue, and then we stare awkwardly at each other for like 2 minutes. And then we decide, does this work or not? Because it really does work that fast,
You're
right?
kidding me. So in 2
No.
minutes,
Yeah.
I
Two to
would
five
know.
minutes, you should feel a difference with an amino acid at the right dose. Yeah.
Interesting. So are there different 2-minute awkward stages throughout this
Yeah, there's
said Zoom call?
multiple because we're
Okay,
doing
yeah, yeah.
5 different categories. So we're gonna
Okay.
assess your serotonin, your GABA, the endorphins, the catecholamines, and then balancing your glucose levels, and there's amino acids associated with all 5 of those levels.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is so fa I never get tired of it.
Like, honestly, it's kind of like the best dopamine hit of, like, watching the people react. So, it happens that quickly. What would I like, let's say I'm low in dopamine or serotonin.
Mhm.
Let's say serotonin. So if I'm low in serotonin and I put this pill underneath my tongue and wait 2 minutes, what am I going to potentially feel like if I'm reacting to it?
Yeah, so your brain might feel lighter. I hear that a lot. My brain just feels lighter or my body feels lighter. um, I feel like there's less noise going on and I can feel like I can focus on the conversation, people will say, or the greens are greener, the blues are bluer. So things look and hear a little bit crisper. Some people tell me they have this weight that's like off their chest or the chatter's gone. So many different things. It just depends on the person and what they're struggling with. But we get some interesting things sometime. And surprisingly, men will give me sometimes the best detail because they don't really believe it's going to work. So when it does, they're like, okay, so I'm feeling like in my big toe just relaxed, or, something kind of really obscure like that. But you can really feel it a lot of times head to toe, how it's affecting your body. A lot of brain tingling goes on because your brain is actually being nourished and kind of waking up. Yeah, it's a beautiful process.
That would be equally as fun, I'm sure, for you to watch as it is for
Mhm.
somebody to go through. Are there ever, like, emotional people that, like, they're just, like it's almost like tears of joy that, like, they're
Oh,
getting, like,
yes.
some sense of relief?
Yes, and to know, like, because you're white knuckling through every single day, you're, like, doing 10 different things to overcome what you're dealing with, and so you're hanging on for dear life, and then you get an amino acid, and well, I had a client not too long ago, she's like, "I don't know that I felt this calm maybe ever, or it's been years." It was pre-marriage, pre-kids, pre-whatever, 'cause, you get a good health history, and people realize they've been struggling with ADHD or anxiety, depression, since really they were little a lot of the times. You can see the patterns and then all of a sudden it kind of, manifests into something bigger when we're moms and we have kids and, all those kind of things. But um yeah, people cry. We're like, I don't know that I've ever felt this focused or this calm or this quiet. The quietness of the brain is can be uncomfortable because if you're not used to quiet, I have some like, I don't know if I can handle this, some people will say. And I've had people like, you have to take this supplement away. I might do these two, but this one I can't handle at the moment. Let's give it a little time. Just because when your brain is so quiet, you have things you need to think about then and work through,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's so interesting. I'm gonna go off on, like, a quick ADHD tangent for just 1 second. So we were just flying. We went on a family vacation. We came back, and I have, 2 neurodivergent children and a neurotypical stepson. And my neurotypical stepson sat on the airplane, I am not joking, for 4 hours and just, like, either stared at the back of the screen or took a nap, like, of the back of the headrest or took a nap.
Uh-huh.
And I kept asking my husband, I'm like, "Is he okay?" Like, I can't imagine sitting there for, like, 4 minutes and not doing something, and he sat there for 4 hours, didn't disturb any now he's 16, so, like, I didn't expect him to, like, be kicking the back of the seat in front of him, but it was and then I'm thinking to myself, "Is this what everyone else's brain is like that's not like me?" Like, is there a possibility that I could sit on a plane for just 1 hour and not do something? It's just and so I understand, like, the almost the
Yeah.
anxiety around, like, having a calm brain for some
Yeah.
of us probably feels equally as scary
Yeah.
as the opposite.
Yeah. It can for some people, but most people just kind of go like, oh, that feels so good. Yeah. Just to be able to be quiet for an hour, to actually sit down and pray or meditate or read a book where you don't have to go back and read it again, or you can actually sit there and not think about anything or focus on a specific thing. You know what I mean? So it's beautiful.
It sounds absolutely beautiful. I
Mhm.
hope one day that I'm there to experience that.
I can help you with that, Nancy.
I think maybe we should do, like, a second podcast where we actually do it live. Have you ever done
Oh, I
one? Like,
think that would be so fun. Yes,
wouldn't that be, like, a
we
live
should do that.
recorded and we can actually see the reactions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. Mhm.
That would be yeah, I think yes, let's do it. We're just gonna commit to doing that. Um, wow, okay. So, ADHD, anxiety, depression, what are the other kind of common are there other things that people should if they're kind of, like, wondering, like, "Hey, maybe I should reach out to, like, Lori," like, anything else, or are those kind of, like, the big 3 that you
I
typically
mean,
see?
those are the big 3. I mean, OCD, trouble sleeping, hormone disruption. I work with, a lot of things. But if you have a mood challenge or a focus challenge, like amino acid therapy can help with just about everything related to that. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go back to the process. So after we do the awkward staring and then we feel better and it's like this life-changing moment. What does it look like after that? Like is it like a coaching relationship? Is it supplements? Like what
Yeah, so we'll get you on very targeted supplements of the amino acids, and then we once you're feeling good there, we're working on dietary changes, working on gut health because we got to get to the root cause why there was the deficiency in the first place. I mean, you may have been born with it, right? You may have been born deficient, and so once we fix those deficiencies, things get better. But once the brain is calm, everything the below the neck gets easier to deal with. So then we go there, like what's left over once the brain is calm. So then we'll assess those things.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And
It's
so,
so
yes, we're meeting usually on every 7 to 10 days after that for a good 90 days.
interesting. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. How does I think this is so important, but I can't always articulate it the right way. How the gut and the brain are so tied together. I think we've
Yes.
seen enough research to like most of us have accepted that at this point in
Yeah.
science. But can you talk a little bit more about that? I've personally found such a difference with my ADHD brain eating like a clean diet
Eating
and,
clean.
and
Yeah.
trying to get myself rebalanced in that. And then as soon as I fall off, it is like the wheels fall off. But can you kind of maybe talk more about like the science of that?
Yeah. So your microbiome greatly affects your brain health. And so 80% of your serotonin and lots of other neurotransmitters are actually found in your gut. So when we're using amino acid therapy, it's not just affecting the brain, it's affecting the gut as well. And the goal is that we can calm the brain enough so get that overdrive response out and then that microbiome can change. Right? And so if you're always stuck in overdrive and your vagal pathway is always stimulated and you're in sympathetic mode or you're in the stuck mode, your gut really can't heal that well. And so, like when you say when you go off the rails, you go off the diet, you still have symptoms. But if we can calm everything down, fix the deficiency, then we can come in and heal the gut better. So even if you do eat some gluten every now and then, you're not going to have this, intense response from it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Um, And how long does it take to heal the gut generally? Like, is that like a 2-week process or a 2-year process?
I mean, I think it's like lifelong, to be honest with you. Yeah, you just incrementally kind of get better with the gut. The more consistent you are over time, but leaky gut kind of comes and goes. I mean, everybody's like, we got to heal the leaky gut. Well, leaky gut does come and go, so it's not like you can heal it all the time. So a stressful day at work can give you leaky gut for a bit, and then you keep doing what you normally do, and then it just happens less often, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that does. That does. That's awesome. I'm curious, what I'm kind of changing gears a little bit, but like what are some of the things that you hear from clients that like maybe you're like, "Oh, that's not actually how that happens," right? Like what are like maybe like some of like the misconceptions either about amino acid therapy or just the functional medicine that you do on a daily basis?
Oh gosh, that's such a great question. What do I hear? Um, I mean, a lot around dietary things. If you just eat this way, that'll fix everything, whether it's the carnivore diet or the vegan diet, or if you just go paleo, it's going to fix this. And all those are good. I love diet variation. So that's what I'm always teaching clients. And there isn't any one diet that's going to fix everything. So, kind of dispel that myth right now. Your body is made for variation. And so that's what I teach. So if you're on a carnivore diet, great. That's amazing. And don't stay on it forever. If you're on a keto diet, great. That's amazing. And don't stay on it forever. So you want to switch in and out of those things. A lot of people tell me you can't heal the brain unless you heal the gut first. And I'm like, that's not true. So, because I am definitely work on the opposite. I feel like if we calm the brain, then the gut can actually heal and then they work together. So I'm always working on the things at the same time. And people tell me you can't overcome ADHD, or I'm just have to live with my anxiety, or you can't overcome, something as serious as schizophrenia. Well, I've seen schizophrenia disappear with just taking out foods that they're sensitive to. So, I mean, we can dispel a lot of myths here if you want.
So I love that you have to heal your gut first before anything else because and I think it goes to what you said just a minute ago of like you're always healing your gut and your gut
Yeah.
ebbs and flows, right? Like we're always eating things and probably putting it a little bit off balance, right? Or a
Yeah, and
different
and
balance.
it changes with your hormones. I mean, your microbiome is constantly changing, and I'm not against any of the microbiome testing and stuff, but as a woman, you know, ovulatory, my microbiome looks different than when I menstruate. Like it's just going to be different. So I think we go down too many rabbit trails when we just need to be dealing with foundations first and then see what's left over.
I absolutely agree. It's funny, I have a couple of good friends that are in the functional medicine space too, and it's this really like, sometimes people will get sent to me for ADHD coaching, and I actually send them off to other people like yourself or these other functional practice people because they have to calm down the brain before I can really
Yes.
help them. Like, we're fighting such an uphill battle. If they're fighting their brain and their body, then, strategies, tips, tricks, habits, all those things are great, and I think that
They are.
everyone needs those. But,
Mhm.
fighting an inflamed brain and all if there's a nutritional deficiency or if they have mold or any of
Yes.
those things, right?
Yes.
Um, e I can't do my job effectively, and they're gonna pay me for way too long, and we're not gonna make enough
Right.
progress for
Making
either of us
progress.
to be
Yeah.
happy. And so I've really started like, "Hey, like, I think you need to start here and then come back to
Mhm.
me."
Yeah. My job is to make your coaching easier.
Yes, exactly. It's really it's that perfect partnership.
It is.
Um And I think even from coaching, I've been able to, like, see more of it too, like, I've started to be able to spot, like, "Look, we've gotta get this person a little bit more regulated before I
Mhm.
can, do it." And I don't necessarily intuitively know what I'm seeing, like, as far as, like, what it is, right? But
Sure.
because 'cause I'm nowhere close to a doctor or nurse or anything, but I can just sense the dysregulation, and
Right.
yeah, and I'm sure that their family, their spouse, their coworkers, their peers, that they all sense it too, right? We just don't maybe
Mhm.
have the words for it or we're not
Yeah.
comfortable enough saying it. But it is obvious, and then that calm is extra obvious too.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
do you I'd love to hear more about your Calm Mom, method and the academy. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the calm mom method is kind of essentially what we've been chatting about. It's, balancing the brain first, fixing those deficiencies, and then we go below the neck after that. And so then we're dealing with gut. We do talk a little bit about, detoxing. So we want to get those toxins out so that we can maintain the deficiencies that we've fixed, right? So we want to stay that way. And then it's all about identity and who you are, who God created you to be. And so we talk about those things. And it's initially a 90-day program. And so it's kind of comprehensive. There's testing options if you want to go that route, during that program. And then there's a continuation where we just keep working on things because it's health is a lifelong journey. And so then we just do fun things, whether it's fasting or a challenge or, whatever it might be. But it's a fun group.
That is awesome. So it's a group-based, program?
That was a group based. I do see people one on one if I need to. So some people come to me with, 2, 3 medications, and that's not really a group program fit. They need to see me first, and then they can go into the group program.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that totally that makes sense, and I think there's so much benefit in having group programs too, just from the connection and camaraderie of, like, I'm really not
exactly.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody thinks that they're especially those of us who are fighting, like, the mental scripts or habits or, some type of and I think everyone's fighting something, right? And
Well, and I think we as women, I think it's more prevalent too because we're like, "Oh, we have to, you know, bully through every single day. We have to white knuckle it and keep going, and I don't have time to deal with, friends," and, but I really feel like when we do these group settings, so many great relationships are made. I mean, we met in a group and, it just opens the door for other things to happen and other healing to happen, and then it's just fun to see what God does with all of that.
it really is. It is
Yeah.
so it's so interesting, like, how God puts different people in my life at the exactly the right time, and of
Yep.
course, right? Like, when I say it out
Yes.
loud
He's so good all the time. Yes.
right? Even when it's like, "Hmm, that was a question mark," it all makes sense later, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's yeah, it's just interesting. So can we I'm kind of jumping around here, but my brain's just bouncing in so many different ways. So a person with ADHD comes to you, you guys go through the immunotherapy, um what does it look like for them afterwards? Like, what are some of the, like, maybe, like, longer term effects? Like, do they get off of medicine? Like, what are some of their goals, and what have you seen?
Yeah, it's really rare that somebody would come to me and wants to stay on their meds. So, most of them get off their meds or at least most of them. And then their life just gets better. They learn how to navigate life on life's terms. I have this beautiful woman that I've been working with. I think we've been together maybe 7 or 8 months now, but she came to me on like 5 meds. And she's like, "I wanna get off all of them." 'em. I'm like, "Okay." And she has a doc that she's working with too, so we're all working together. And we're into, I think, like I said, month 7 or 8 now. She's off all of her medications, right? And it's beautiful, and she's been on them medication since she was 12, and she's like, "I just don't know how to feel," right? And so I don't know what it really feels like to be actually really sad, or she was on ADHD meds, and she's like, "I don't know what it really feels like to, like, focus, on my own, and, all those kind of things. And so it's been fun to watch her kind of feel the feels and like navigate life outside of the meds, but also with the amino acids. And she's made just beautiful transition and she's doing phenomenally well. And so we're still working on some detox. We're working on, still some gut healing and adrenal function and those kind of things. Cause, there's lots of long term things that need to be dealt with. But I mean, she's a typical case that I see all the time. And it's just so fun to see people come alive to what they were created to be.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And without I know I don't think that there's a single person I work with that has taken medicine and wouldn't like to stop, and it's not even maybe that there's, like, a side effect to the medicine, it's just, like, this psychological piece of, like, I just wanna be me, and I wanna be who
Yeah.
God created me to be without taking an additional something to make me be as good as the world wants me to be, I think is sometimes
Right.
how it feels,
Right.
right? Like, I
Yeah.
have to put this Band-Aid on myself to fit in this box, to not be fidgety or not be as excited or too much or whatever it is, enough. Um, and so I can imagine, like, not having to rely on that is just
Mhm.
like, it's just a relief that, like, I'm awesome
'Cause then you
without
don't feel
anything else.
broken. Mhm. Yeah.
Yes. Like,
You don't
at
feel
the
like
end of
there's
the day,
something
that's
wrong with
exact
you. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Like, I'm not broken. This is exactly how who God made me to be. And and honestly, and maybe we can talk to this, like, a little bit more, but, like, the foods that we're eating aren't the foods that we were eating 100 years ago or 150 years
Definitely
ago.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that we're broken. Like, we would have actually like, the ADHDers would have been, like, the best, people to go out and hunt for food and, take on risks and protect families and do all these, like, risk-taking behaviors 100,
Mhm.
200 years ago. Um, and unfortunately, a lot of our environment has impacted that, right?
It definitely has impacted that, and I think our school system has impacted that as well. 'Cause we're expecting, a group of 30 kids to learn in the same way, at the same time, at the same pace, sitting down, like, doing specific things. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the brain, it doesn't make sense for the body because 'cause we're not the same. And so, you have 2 neurodivergent kids, they learn completely different than somebody else. But we can still use amino acids with them to help their brain to calm their system, not to change them, right? And I think people get a little upset by that. So, well, I don't want you to change me. I don't want to change you either. I just want to maximize what's already in there. So if we fix those deficiencies, we have a calmer neurological system, then the beauty of what's still in you comes out even brighter, more effective, more focused. There's just so many things that can happen when you support the body in the right way. And it's not like we don't want to fix your kids. That's not the goal, is to fix them. We want to fix the deficiencies, right? And we want to give them the best opportunity to, be who God created them to be.
Yeah. To your original point of trying to find, a place that would help support you, that you weren't suicidal enough or you didn't have
Yeah.
enough anxiety or like even I take myself as an example. Like I'm healthy, normal weight, normal everything. And if I went to I've tried to go to the doctor and say like, how can I optimize my own health, right?
Mhm.
And unfortunately, there's like they have no idea. Like they look at me like I'm crazy because they're like,
Right.
"Well, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not that anything's wrong. Maybe something is and we just don't know it, but, like, how do I just become a better version of me health-wise?" And they
Yeah.
have no idea what to do
Yeah.
with
'Cause
that.
that's not their model.
Mhm.
Yeah, their model isn't to maximize the good. Their model is to take a negative symptom and cover it up, right? And hopefully help you have a better life. I mean, I don't know too many doctors out there that they don't want their patients to have a better life. I mean, that's the goal. That's why they became doctors. But their model, their system isn't one of, it's not one of healthcare. It's not one of preventative. It's not one of empowerment. It's like, oh, this will help you make you feel better. Here, take this medication because that's what they have to offer. Right. So I found that out in nursing school. I wanted to be in psychiatric nursing because of stuff in my past. And I'm like, then I figured out very quickly, like, I was just going to be a medication dispenser. I wasn't actually going to help people overcome, that anxiety, the depression, the suicidal thoughts and those things. And at that point in time, I didn't know what to do. But after I, went out to the outpatient program, I'm like, oh, this is what I want to do to help people get on the other side of this. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, that is it just goes back to, our struggles feel like struggles at the time, but they make so much sense looking back that you had to go through that to be here
Yeah.
now to help so many people.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it.
Amazing.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
change it at all.
yeah, I agree. Um, I know we didn't really touch on, but do you work with children or is it
I do work with
you
children.
do?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
awesome. Is it any
Yep.
different or is it the same type of process?
It may look a little different depending on the age of the child and what their tolerance level is. So, more parent involvement, of course. But yeah, no, I work with kids all the time. My oldest client at the moment is 87.
My gosh.
Yeah. And she came to
Wow.
me and she's like, I don't really want to be on this medication anymore. And can you help me with my gallbladder? Sure, I can do that. At 87, that was such an inspiration to me, and hopefully somebody hearing this, like, she just wasn't done. She's like, "I'm not ready to die, and I don't wanna be on these medications, so what can I do to get off?" "Okay, let's talk about it." And
Oh
she's
my
doing all
god.
the things I suggested at 87.
That is
So
so
it's never too late.
yes, and never too I would assume, maybe never too early isn't the right statement, but but how young, I guess, would you say that a good child would be to start this?
I've used amino acids with babies.
You have? Okay. Okay,
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah. 'Cause you have babies that don't sleep well or they're super fussy, and you just add a little bit of amino acid to it and can really calm the whole system down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I work with a lot of business leaders, and CEOs and business owners and
Mm,
entrepreneurs,
mhm.
and, I'm hearing more and more literally, men and women are both, like, having to take the or make the choice of either selling their business or to deal with a child that may be sick. And, like, it's becoming more and more prevalent. I think we're talking about it more than we used to, but not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there are so many children, and the one specific that I heard this week was, like, I think it was a 3-year-old, child who isn't sleeping. They're considering maybe on the autism spectrum, but, whenever I hear that, I'm like, that's like that's one that's a that's one thing. There's usually 100 other medical
100
things that go along with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, um,
And can I say a couple things of encouragement
yeah,
there?
yeah,
I'll give you a couple examples. So one of them is a client of mine, one's one of my students, because I teach practitioners how to use amino acid therapy too. So anyone listening, I have a course for that. It's really fun. Um, but my client in particular, she was having issues with her child running away. So it was a foster adopted child. Her parents had used drugs when, in utero and everything. So lots of factors there, right? But this young lady was just started running away. She was 12, kind of coming into puberty, so a lot of things were shifting. And so her fight or flight mode. And so we were very targeted with the amino acids, very kind of violent at times, screaming, yelling, pinching, all those kind of things, having a hard time calming her down. So we started using the amino acids and some other targeted nutrition, and she hasn't run away in a very, very, very long time. And as long as they keep doing, what she needs at the moment, she stays pretty darn calm. And it's really has kept her in the home, right? It's kept her in the home, and, they didn't have to send her away, which is a big deal.
That is a huge deal, and I
Yeah.
think the other thing we don't usually talk about is the stress that that puts on, like, the parent relationship between each other, right?
Oh my goodness, right? Yeah, and
Oh,
it's so stressful on you as a couple. So stressful because yeah, because you both want the best for the child and you want the best for your family, and what do you do? And one of you wants to, go down this route, and the other one is just like, let's just put her in a home. And I mean, it's so challenging. I have a student, and this is so exciting too. I think the girl is 12, could be 10, could be 13, somewhere in there. So she would never leave her room. She doesn't like to talk to anybody, not social at all. Couldn't get her to go do anything, just angry, violent. They were going to actually send her away because they were having a hard time with her with the other kids. And so this was literally 2 days before they were going to put her on a plane and send her away to hopefully a facility that would help her. And my student started working with her and gave her the amino acids the very next day. Now, it doesn't always happen this fast, but it can. The very next day, they went to a family event, and she was calm and collected the entire time. And she's been that way ever since. And the thing they added was the amino acid therapy.
literally life-changing.
It changed the entire family. You went from kids not being safe, parents arguing, having to send this child off. I know the both stories are kind of similar, but there's so many kids out there that are struggling like that. And, they're not getting the right help. And these parents were seeking, alternative methods. They had done tactile therapies and, lots of strategies, and they tried to change the diet and, all those really, really good things. And you just needed to be really targeted to fix those deficiencies in the brain, because amino acids are the foundation for everything in your body. So if your brain is deficient in those, I don't really care how, many herbs you take, because that's not going to fix the deficiency, right? Those are good and I like them, but they're not fixing the deficiency. So let's go back to the foundations. What's missing foundationally? And amino acids are always the foundation because they're the building block of everything in our bodies.
Can you just describe that a little bit? Like, I think people say, like, these are, like, the building blocks in our between, how does that actually work?
So you have to have protein in order to build your bones. So your bones are like 50% protein, 50% fat, plus other stuff, right? And so tiny pieces of amino acids make up protein chains. And so you have to have amino acids to make protein, and protein makes everything, your hair, your eyes, your organs, your enzymes, everything. You have to have that in order for your body to have structure.
Crazy. But we never
Mhm.
talk about that. Like, we talk
I
about
know.
protein, we talk about water,
Mhm.
sunlight, different things, but we
Yeah.
don't talk
All those
about yeah.
foundational things. Yeah.
Ah, so interesting. This is, this may not be a thing, but, like, with amino acids and hormones, especially, like, I'm thinking, like, girls and, like, teenage years, are amino acids ever, like, off balance and acne is, like, a side effect of it? Like, does it ever help with that, or is it more, like, brain chemistry and, like, less physical?
Yeah, I would say I mean, yes, it does help with that because when your brain is calmer, that helps your hormones, right? And you still need the amino acids for your hormone production. So, yes, it's not a direct, but it's still there, if that makes sense. Yeah. And amino acids greatly if so your serotonin level and your estrogen level are very connected. And so if you're balancing your serotonin, that's going to help your estrogen. Sort of like if you balance GABA in your brain, that's going to help progesterone. So, um, if that answers your
Interesting.
question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Fascinating stuff. This is
Mhm.
so much fun. It's been such an absolute pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you.
Um, how how can people find you? Like where I mean, obviously, we're definitely doing another session for sure because I
Yes.
would love to do this in real time. But um how do people get a hold of you? How do they I mean, they can obviously listen to your podcast, but like where are the best ways for them to follow you?
Yeah. Follow me. Go find the Calm Mom community on Instagram. And then send me a DM, let me know that, you found me on the Dyslexic Maverick, and I'll have a free gift for you. So, follow me,
Ah,
message me, I'll give you a free gift. It's 5 Calm Mom hacks that, will help, outside of amino acid therapy. So, yeah,
ooh, I want that too. Can I get that
I'll give
too?
that to you. Yeah, you can put it in the show notes too if you want. That'll be totally fine. And then my link to the Calm Mom, Academy, that'll be in your show notes too.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We'll link everything, but definitely go follow Lori.
Follow me on Instagram, Take Back My Brain podcast. You can, check me out on both of those places.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. It has been such an absolute pleasure, Lori. I've learned so much. My brain is just spinning and now I need to like go back to Google and just keep researching and learning more. So thank you so much for taking the time to
Thank
share
you
all
for
of your
having me.
knowledge. Yeah, and wisdom and giving moms, I think, especially moms, just like hope that there are different solutions out there, that there's more than just, clean diets and exercise, and those things are all important, but sometimes we just need a little bit of extra,
You
and
do.
you're a great place to start. So
Yeah.
thank you again. It's been such a
Oh,
pleasure talking with you.
thank you so much, Nancy. It's been amazing being here. You're fantastic.
Aw, thank you, thank you. Until next time, friends, embrace those unique brains you've been given. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. It is literally the best way you can support our work here. And if you're feeling extra generous, take a screenshot and tag us on social with one of your takeaways from the episode. Until next time, friends, embrace that unique brain you've been given.